In a small town where everyone thought they knew their place, a young black teen named Jamal stood out, not because of the clothes he wore or the grades he made, but because of the quiet kindness he showed to a horse that nobody else cared about. This wasn't any ordinary horse, it was old, lame, and forgotten. Most people in town saw it as a lost cause, just a broken-down animal left to waste away. But Jamal saw something different. To him, that horse wasn't just a creature needing help, it was a chance, a friend, and maybe even a miracle waiting to happen. From the very first day Jamal started sneaking out after school to feed and care for the horse, whispers and cruel laughter followed him. Kids at school called him names, mocked him for wasting time on something useless, and told him to quit dreaming. They couldn't understand why he spent hours working with an animal no one believed could ever run again. But Jamal didn't listen. He had a secret hope burning inside him. A hope that this forgotten horse could rise again. Behind closed doors, far from the teasing eyes and harsh words, Jamal began to train the horse, slowly building its strength one step at a time. No one knew about the long evenings he spent in the dusty barn, whispering encouragement and brushing the horse's tired mane. What started as an act of kindness soon turned into something much bigger, a bond between a boy who refused to give up and a horse that was determined to prove everyone wrong. As weeks passed, Jamal's hard work began to pay off, but the town remained skeptical. Most people believed the horse would never make it to the track, let alone win a race. Then one day, an unexpected opportunity arrived, a secret competition that wasn't open to just anyone, where only the best and most daring could enter. Jamal knew this was his moment, the chance to show the world that sometimes, what others see as broken can be the very thing that changes everything. But the road ahead wasn't easy. Jamal faced doubts, obstacles, and the constant pressure of keeping his training hidden. The stakes were high, and if the secret got out too soon, it could all be over before it even began. Yet, with his heart set on proving his worth and the horse's true potential, Jamal took a leap of faith that would shock his town, and maybe even the entire nation. What happened next would change their lives forever. The story of a bullied black teen and a lame horse wasn't just about winning a race, it was about courage, hope, and the power of believing in the impossible. And as Jamal prepared to enter that secret competition, no one could have predicted the incredible twist waiting just around the corner. Stay tuned to find out how a forgotten horse and a determined teen made history, and how their journey stunned a nation, leaving everyone wondering, can a second chance really lead to $1 million miracle? Jamal wasn't always the quiet kid who loved animals. Before the whispers and the bullying, he was just a regular teenager trying to find his place in a world that often seemed too loud and unfair. Growing up in a neighborhood where opportunities were scarce and dreams often felt out of reach, Jamal found comfort in the small moments, the calmness of the barn, the steady breath of the horse, the soft nuzzle of its muzzle against his hand. It was the one place where he could escape the noise and the judgment, where nobody cared about the color of his skin or the clothes he wore. His family had never been wealthy. His mother worked long hours cleaning houses, and his dad had left years ago, leaving Jamal with more questions than answers. Still, his mother always encouraged him to hold on to what made him different, to be kind even when others were cruel. That kindness was why Jamal had never given up on the old horse, even when it seemed easier to walk away. The horse wasn't just an animal to him, it was a symbol of resilience, a chance to prove that no matter how broken something looks, it can still have value. The horse had a name, Shadow. It was once a promising racehorse, known for its speed and strength. But a severe injury during a race had left Shadow unable to compete again. The owner, seeing no future for the horse, sold it cheaply and let it fade into obscurity. That's when Jamal found Shadow, hidden away in a dusty stable, limping and forgotten. While others saw a lost cause, Jamal saw potential. Every day, he brought fresh hay, washed the horse's wounds, and talked to it like a friend. At school, the teasing got worse. Some kids called him Horse Boy, others whispered that he was wasting his time on a dead animal. The teachers tried to help, but even they didn't understand why Jamal would spend so much time with something nobody cared about. It was lonely, but Jamal's determination never wavered. He knew the truth about Shadow, that the horse's spirit was still alive, waiting for someone to bring it back. Behind the scenes, Jamal began to train Shadow. At first, it was simple exercises, just getting the horse to walk steadily without pain. Then, he pushed a little harder, teaching Shadow to trot, then to run short distances. The progress was slow, and there were days when it felt impossible. But every small victory made Jamal believe more in what they could achieve together. One afternoon, as Jamal was working with Shadow, a stranger appeared at the stable. A man in a suit who introduced himself as a race organizer, known for finding hidden talent and giving underdogs a shot at glory. He told Jamal about a secret competition, a race that didn't just test speed, but heart, grit, and determination. The prize? $1 million reward and a chance to change your life forever. Jamal's heart pounded. This was the moment he had been waiting for, but it came with a warning. The competition was fierce, the rules strict, and the stakes higher than anything he'd ever faced. And if word got out that Shadow was in the race, the backlash from the town could be unbearable. Many would call it foolishness, a joke, or worse. The pressure was overwhelming. Jamal had to keep Shadow's training a secret while preparing for a challenge that could either make him a hero or break him completely. Every step forward was shadowed by doubt and fear. Fear of failure, fear of ridicule, and fear that the horse might not be ready. As the race day approached, Jamal's world tightened around the secret he held close to his heart. Who would believe in a bullied teen and a lame horse? Could they really overcome the odds stacked against them? The answer was still unknown, but one thing was clear: this was more than just a race. It was a test of everything Jamal believed in, and what he was willing to risk to prove that sometimes, the most unlikely heroes come from the places we least expect. Jamal's biggest challenge wasn't just training Shadow, it was facing the world that had already decided they didn't belong. At school, the bullying had grown more intense. Rumors spread that Jamal was wasting his time with a broken horse, that he was chasing a fantasy no one else believed in. Some students even went out of their way to sabotage his work, hoping to break his spirit. Every insult, every sneer, felt like another brick added to the wall between him and his dreams. But what Jamal didn't realize was that not everyone in town was against him. Mrs. Thompson, the elderly woman who ran the local feed store, quietly watched Jamal's determination. She remembered when Shadow was a champion and felt a soft spot for the boy who refused to give up. Sometimes, she slipped extra bags of feed into Jamal's supplies, hoping to help without drawing attention. Her small acts of kindness became a lifeline for Jamal, reminding him that there were people who believed, even if they didn't say it out loud. Meanwhile, the secret competition was more complicated than Jamal expected. The organizer, a sharp-eyed man named Mr. Carlyle, didn't sugarcoat the reality. This race isn't just about speed, he told Jamal one evening. It's about endurance, strategy, and heart. And every competitor has their own story, some with resources you couldn't imagine. You'll be up against horses trained by professionals, backed by sponsors, and owned by people who see this as business, not a second chance. Jamal felt the weight of those words. Shadow's lame leg wasn't just a physical obstacle, it was a symbol of everything stacked against them. The secret race was their shot, but it was also a gamble with everything on the line. If they lost, it wouldn't just be a loss of money or pride, it could mean the end of Shadow's chance at a new life and the final blow to Jamal's dreams. The tension at home added another layer. Jamal's mother, though proud of his dedication, worried constantly. She worked double shifts and barely had time to sleep, and the thought of Jamal risking so much on a horse she barely understood kept her up at night. What if you get hurt? What if you fail? She'd ask, her voice trembling. But Jamal could only say, I have to try, Mom. This is bigger than me. Even Jamal's closest friends were divided. Some thought he was brave, others thought he was chasing a lost cause. One friend, Marcus, warned him, "You're fighting a battle no one else sees. People won't just cheer you on, they'll try to stop you." Marcus's words stung, but they also pushed Jamal to work harder, to prove that belief could move mountains. The horse itself seemed to sense the growing pressure. On some days, Shadow was strong and ready, its eyes bright with hope. On others, the old injury flared up, and the horse struggled, making Jamal question if they could really do this. There were nights when Jamal sat beside Shadow, holding its head, whispering promises he wasn't sure he could keep. The bond between them was tested every step of the way. Behind the scenes, other competitors were watching. Some sneered at the idea of a lame horse entering the race, dismissing it as a joke. But a few quiet voices started to wonder, could this underdog really shake up everything? Rumors about the secret competition began to leak, and with it, the possibility that Jamal and Shadow might be more than just a story of hope, they might be a threat to the status quo. With the race day closing in, Jamal felt the pressure mounting from all sides: bullies, doubters, his own fears, and the high stakes of the competition. Every step forward was a struggle, every small success shadowed by the question, what if this dream wasn't meant to be? Yet, even in the face of so much uncertainty, Jamal and Shadow prepared for the moment that could change everything. If only they could survive the battle ahead. As the day of the secret race drew closer, Jamal felt the weight of every eye, every whisper, pressing down on him harder than ever. The quiet hours he once spent with Shadow in the barn had turned into restless nights filled with doubt and questions. Could they really pull this off? Could a boy who had been bullied all his life and a horse written off as broken really stand a chance against the best racers in the country? The thought alone was enough to make his heart race faster than Shadow ever could. The town had started to buzz with rumors. Some folks still laughed behind their hands, calling Jamal's dream foolish and impossible. Others, though quieter, started to watch with curiosity, wondering if maybe, just maybe, this underdog story could surprise them all. Jamal's school was divided. Some students mocked him openly, while a few whispered encouragement in the halls, hoping he would prove them wrong. Behind the scenes, Jamal's secret training had to accelerate. Shadow's lame leg was acting up more frequently, reminding Jamal that this race wasn't just a test of speed but of endurance and willpower. Every morning, he woke up early, massaging the horse's leg, feeding it special supplements, and pushing through pain that neither of them wanted to admit. The connection between them had never been stronger, but the clock was ticking. Mr. Carlyle, the race organizer, called Jamal in for a final meeting just days before the event. His tone was serious, almost cold. This race will be watched by more than just a few people. If you want to make it, you have to be ready for anything: pressure, tricks from competitors, and maybe even betrayal. Those words sent a chill down Jamal's spine. He knew that in a world like this, winning wasn't just about the finish line. It was about surviving the game. Jamal's mother, who had been silently supporting him all along, confessed one evening how scared she really was. "If something happens to you or Shadow, I don't know if I could take it." Jamal hugged her tight, feeling the weight of her fears mixed with his own. He wanted to be strong for her, for himself, and for the horse that had become his family. On the eve of the race, Jamal stayed with Shadow in the barn longer than usual. The moonlight filtered through the cracks, casting shadows that danced like memories of the long journey they had taken. Jamal whispered promises he wasn't sure he could keep. "We're gonna show them, Shadow. We're gonna show them all." The morning of the race arrived with a tension so thick it felt like the air itself was holding its breath. Jamal arrived at the hidden track, surrounded by powerful horses and confident riders, many of whom looked down on him and his lame horse. Cameras, reporters, and spectators gathered quietly, waiting for the moment that could either make a legend or crush a dream. As Jamal saddled Shadow and led him to the starting line, the world seemed to shrink to just the two of them: the boy who never gave up, and the horse who refused to be forgotten. The crowd's murmur rose, the tension building like a storm ready to break. Every eye was on them, some full of doubt, others full of hope. Then, the signal was given, and the race began. With every powerful stride Shadow took, the crowd leaned in, sensing something extraordinary unfolding. Jamal's heart pounded in sync with the pounding hooves, but the race was far from over. Challenges still lay ahead, rough terrain, fierce competitors, and the ever-present risk of Shadow's injury flaring up again. As they pushed forward, the whispers turned into gasps. The impossible was starting to feel real. But with the finish line still far away, and danger lurking around every bend, one question hung in the air: could a bullied teen and a lame horse really cross that line first and change their lives forever? The answer was out there, waiting in the moments to come, moments filled with raw courage, fierce determination, and a battle that would test everything they had fought for. The secret race wasn't just a competition anymore, it was the ultimate test of heart, and the whole nation was about to watch. Just when it seemed like Jamal and Shadow were gaining ground, something unexpected happened that sent a shock through everyone watching. As they rounded a sharp bend, Jamal noticed a figure standing near the edge of the track, one of the other competitors, sneering with a look that said this race wasn't just about skill or heart. It was about winning at any cost. Suddenly, a loose rock was kicked onto the path, and Shadow stumbled hard, barely catching himself before falling. The crowd gasped. Jamal's heart stopped for a moment as he felt the familiar sharp pain in Shadow's injured leg. But there was no time to hesitate. With every ounce of strength, Jamal urged Shadow forward, fighting against the pain and the growing fear that their secret dream might be shattered by sabotage. Behind the scenes, whispers started spreading that this wasn't just a race, it was a battleground. Some competitors were rumored to have made deals, using underhanded tactics to edge out the competition. Jamal realized the secret race carried risks beyond physical endurance. It was a test of character in a world where fairness wasn't always guaranteed. As Jamal struggled to steady Shadow, another twist took shape. Just when hope seemed to flicker, a group of spectators suddenly pushed forward, shouting and pointing. A well-known sports journalist, who had been skeptical of Jamal from the start, stepped into the light with a camera crew, exposing the sabotage attempt to the whole crowd. The atmosphere shifted instantly, from doubt and sneers to stunned silence, then to whispers of support. But the damage was done. Shadow's leg throbbed fiercely, and Jamal knew that pushing too hard now could mean the end, not just of the race, but of everything they had fought for. The stakes had never been higher. Not only was Jamal racing against time and competitors, but now he had to decide between risking Shadow's health or giving up the one chance they had at proving the impossible. The pressure tightened around Jamal like a vice. His mother's worried face flashed in his mind, Marcus's warning echoed in his ears, and Mr. Carlyle's cold words about betrayal rang true more than ever. The secret competition had turned into a high-stakes battle where trust was fragile, and every move could change the outcome forever. With every pounding step Shadow took, Jamal's resolve deepened. This was more than a race, it was a fight for respect, for dreams, and for a future that many had tried to deny him from the start. But the question remained. Could a bullied teen and a lame horse overcome sabotage, pain, and doubt to cross the finish line and claim their place in history? The nation watched, breathless, as Jamal faced the greatest challenge yet, one that would test not just their strength, but their very spirit. The secret race had become a story of courage and survival, with a twist no one saw coming and an ending still out of reach. Jamal tightened his grip on the reins, feeling every beat of Shadow's heart beneath him. The pain in the horse's leg was sharp, but Jamal knew that giving up now wasn't an option. The crowd held its breath as the two pushed forward, moving past the sabotage and the doubts, each step a fight against the odds stacked so heavily against them. Around them, other riders surged ahead, their faces fierce and determined, but Jamal and Shadow moved with a quiet strength born from months of secret training and unbreakable trust. The final stretch was a blur of pounding hooves and cheering crowds. Jamal whispered to Shadow, "Almost there, buddy. We got this." The horse's eyes locked on the finish line, muscles straining, every fiber focused on the goal. Jamal felt a surge of hope and fear all at once. Could they really cross that line first? Then, as if the universe was testing their resolve one last time, Shadow's leg buckled slightly, threatening to collapse. Jamal leaned forward, steadying the horse, urging him to keep going. The crowd roared, sensing the moment, as Jamal and Shadow gave everything they had left. And then, crossing the finish line, time seemed to stand still. They did it. Against all odds, the bullied teen and the once lame horse won the secret race. Cheers exploded from the crowd, mixed with tears and disbelief. Jamal's heart pounded, his breath heavy but triumphant. Shadow, though exhausted, nuzzled Jamal gently, as if sharing the victory. The $1 million prize was theirs, but more than that, they had earned respect, breaking down the walls of doubt and cruelty that had shadowed their journey. Just as the celebration began, a hush fell over the crowd. Mr. Carlyle stepped forward with a smile that wasn't quite what it seemed. "There's one more surprise," he announced. From the shadows came a figure, a retired champion trainer, known for discovering talent and changing lives. He revealed that he had been watching Jamal's progress from the very start and had decided to offer Jamal a chance to train professionally, turning Shadow's comeback into a new beginning for both of them. Jamal's eyes widened. This was beyond winning a race, it was the start of a dream he hadn't dared to imagine. But before he could fully grasp what was happening, another twist unfolded. The competitor who had tried to sabotage Shadow stepped forward, not with anger, but with respect. He admitted that Jamal's courage and dedication had changed his perspective, and he wanted to support them moving forward. The crowd erupted again, this time with a deeper kind of applause. One that celebrated not just victory, but the power of resilience, forgiveness, and unexpected friendships. Jamal stood beside Shadow, knowing that their journey was far from over. But in that moment, the bullied teen who had fed a lame horse and believed in a second chance had won far more than money. He had won a place in a world that had once shut its doors. And as the sun set on the secret race, Jamal realized this was only the beginning. After the race, everything seemed to move in slow motion for Jamal. The cheers, the flashing cameras, the congratulations, it all felt a little unreal. But when he looked down at Shadow, standing proud despite the exhaustion and pain, he knew this was real. The horse that everyone had written off was now a champion, and Jamal, the kid who was bullied for caring, had proven something powerful: love and dedication can change everything. In the days that followed, Jamal's life shifted in ways he never expected. The retired trainer who had offered to take Jamal and Shadow under his wing became more than just a mentor, he became a guide, helping Jamal learn the skills and strategies to succeed in the competitive world of horse racing. For the first time, Jamal felt like he belonged somewhere, surrounded by people who believed in him and the horse who had never given up. At school, the bullying didn't disappear overnight, but it changed. The same students who had mocked Jamal began to see him differently, not just as the kid with a lame horse, but as someone who had guts, heart, and an unbreakable spirit. Some even apologized quietly, admitting that they had underestimated him. Jamal accepted their words, knowing that respect was something earned, not demanded. His mother's pride was something Jamal felt deep in his bones. She no longer worried about the risks but celebrated the victories, big and small. She watched as Jamal's confidence grew, not just in horse racing, but in life. She saw her son transform from a quiet, bullied teen into a young man with a purpose and a future. Marcus, Jamal's friend who had once warned him about the fight ahead, became one of his biggest supporters. He cheered Jamal on at every race, proud to stand by a friend who had faced every obstacle with courage. Their friendship, tested by doubt and fear, had grown stronger through the journey, proving that true friends are those who stand by you when the world doubts you most. Shadow, the once forgotten horse, continued to heal and grow stronger with each day. Jamal and the trainer worked together to build a training plan that respected Shadow's past injuries while pushing him toward new goals. The bond between boy and horse deepened, built on trust, patience, and shared dreams. The secret race that had shocked the nation became more than just a story, it became an inspiration. People everywhere saw that sometimes, the underdog can win when no one expects it, that kindness and belief can break through hate and doubt. Jamal's story reminded everyone watching that greatness isn't about where you start, it's about how hard you're willing to fight for what you love. Looking back, Jamal realized that the $1 million prize was only part of what he had gained. The real victory was in proving that compassion and determination could turn a dream into reality, no matter the obstacles. He learned that sometimes, the greatest strength comes from the most unexpected places, like a boy who fed a lame horse and a horse who refused to be forgotten. As Jamal stood once more at the track, preparing for his next race, he smiled knowing that the journey ahead would have its challenges, but he wasn't alone anymore. With Shadow by his side and a community behind him, he was ready to face whatever came next. And so, the bullied teen who loved animals found not only victory but a new beginning, a story of hope, courage, and the unbreakable bond between a boy and his horse that would inspire others for years to come.